Back, and with baseball being back, it brings nothing but a bunch of Yankee haters and crybabies to watch it when my team does something successful.
Successful, exploratory, shady. Maybe
there's nothing shady about it.
You guys are hiring.
What is shady about this?
You guys
and it's
are
not
hiring,
just the Yankees doing it.
It is not the Yankees doing it, but it's because of the Yankees. It's a story, right? If the Cubs were doing
100%.
Yeah. Or, but now because it's the Yankees, it's like, oh my God, they're the new Astros. And for those
it also helped that we scored 9 home runs in one game, right? 3 of which by our captain and a man who doesn't use a torpedo bat, Aaron Judge. But no, when you hit 9 home runs in a day, obviously people are going to look. And if you debut a new torpedo bat, keyword there, new torpedo bat for 3 individuals in your lineup, that's what's going to get noticed. So they're going to sit there and bury the lead of the fact that Brewers pitching that day was absolute shit, and they're going to bury the lead of Aaron Judge, who hit 3 of them that day, doesn't use a torpedo bat, but focus on everything else that our club is doing. And as soon as that comes out, the accusations start flying. Everybody in the lineup's using a bat like that. This should be illegal. This is ridiculous. How are they getting away with this? You can't do that. Cry all you fucking want. Everything is 100% legal, done by our brilliant analytics team. And the beautiful part is, before everything started coming about all the other players that had been using it and did debut it, up to and including someone right across town by the name of Francisco Lindor, everybody was all up in arms. Why? Oh, the Yankees, they can't keep getting away with this. This is ridiculous. This is absurd. You guys, we're supposed to suck because Juan Soto didn't sign with us. Get out of here. Completely legal. This is great for baseball. And we have talked about this before too. As much as it's great to see a pitching duel every now and then, what's going to keep butts in seats at baseball games is people smacking the ball at least 400 to 500 feet or more. And this is fantastic. So honestly, it's good for baseball, but more importantly, it's not end all be all. There's not going to be an expectation that this is going to work every single time for every single player. And I think everybody just needs to chill the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, and players have been using it. Now, what hurts your case is that Ellie De La Cruz had like a monster game in his first time using the bat, but
first time using the bat in a game, in a real
game.
Yes.
But again, but the counter argument, or I guess from the Yankee side, it'll be, well, Ella De La Cruz was always great and amazing. So
yeah,
it's
and like the sample size right now is too small. We played 3 games, now currently playing 4 out of 162, and the same thing. But I mean, you can go back. Lindor used it in the Astros series and did absolutely nothing. Yeah. So it is an instrument for the game that will help if you know how to use it, right? And it's adjusted with your swing. You're in a good rhythm. It's no different than trying out a different type of different manufacturer bat. Stanton
MLB
used this bat last year. Yeah. Used it all throughout the season last year and the postseason too. No one said anything. I'm sure there are going to be plenty of other players that have said we've been using this year in and year out. There was a report of Cody Bellinger using it at spring training last year for the Cubs. Didn't like it, so he didn't opt to use it. Fixed it this year and going from there. And now there are other players that are going to try to adopt it, but they've come out and said, plain and simple, I ordered one. I'm going to see if it works with my swing. I may not like the feel of it. I may like the feel of it. At the end of the day, Jerm, you still have to hit a pitch that's coming to you at 90 to 100 miles an hour. So we can't sit there and say the bat is a shoo-in. It's going to work. We can't say, oh, well, even the bad pitches they're going to hit, because that's just not the truth. It's adjusted to their particular swing where they make contact on the ball. So it's not like, oh, well, even a bad pitch you're guaranteed to hit, because you're not. And the alternative counterpoint to it is scouting reports. Pitchers know which ones have one and start pitching around where you think the sweet spot might be if you think it's that easy. It's absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, this not only exposed these salty fans and baseball purists and traditionalists, but it also exposed other baseball individuals that didn't even know the game. Plain and simple. You had Trevor McGill on the Brewers saying, oh, well, it's the Yankees, so they'll let it slide. Hey, Trevor, you know what else they'll do because and let it slide? It's because it's legal. That's why they'll let it slide. It's within the constraints of what your bat needs to be. Now, MLB may look at this later on and rule them out completely, but I don't know. I think with more players using them, they've kind of already given us the answer and saying, well, it was legal to start. Why are we going to look at it now just because there's a team that's using them as effectively as possible?
So MLB has shown that they do favor offense. So in terms of people who are crying about getting rid of the bat, considering that it is legal, I guess there's dimensions and weight and everything. And
yeah,
so
there's diameter as well as a weight factor to it too.
Right. So, I mean, we went through this with the juiced ball era, right? Like
we did.
And so MLB wants this. They want home runs. They want high scoring games because that's what fans want to see. That's what sells tickets. And we've talked about it last year about the average viewership of baseballs, like age 53. So yeah. I got to imagine Manfred and them are ecstatic about what's happening with the torpedo bats. So the differences between the juice balls is that, like you were saying, this is a completely analytics driven strategy tailored for the hitter. The juiced ball favors anybody who can hit the ball. Yeah. But these bats are like Jazz Chisholm, like this guy specifically made it for Jazz. So like, yes, while other players are, I should say not just for Jazz, but he's like, Jazz's torpedo bat is different than Bellinger's.
Each one is different, but custom bats is nothing new. That's the thing.
Right.
It's just that this type of bat is going to be very specifically custom to the player's swing, and where the analytics team has deemed they make contact most with a certain part of the bat. That's it.
So what this will be, it'll lead to more, I guess, in-depth analytics on the pitcher side. So if you're somebody who is saying that the game is now moving away from pitching and you're a pitching MLB fan, then I get why you would complain about this a little bit. Yeah. And is it exploiting the bat's weight distribution? Yeah, but if it's within the...
I get that. It's the same weight regardless, but I guess you're correct. In how it's distributed and how it works with the swing, you are 100% correct in itself.
Yeah. So
I want to peel this back a little bit too, okay? Because there are a lot of individuals that are up in arms about this. And you had said it's likely because the Yankees are doing it successfully, and because it's the Yankees, individuals are going to hate the evil empire, plain and simple. I will be honest with you. The second I saw it, and obviously being used in the game, it looks weird and it looks dumb. Yeah. It 100% does. I will admit to everybody as a Yankee fan, I think it looks dumb. But the second I found out it was legal, not a care in the fucking world for me. And it would be the same if I found out that the Mets were predominantly using it or any other team. Like whatever gives yourself the advantage, just short of cheating, right? We're not talking about like, what the Astros were doing with the garbage can. But as baseball fans of any fandom, any team, as baseball traditionalists out there, if you're going to complain and say, well, all equipment should be made the same, I'm going to propose something else to you in a form of a question to you, Jerm. When you play basketball in the NBA, is the court size in LA different than the court size in New York? No, it's not. So baseball fans out there bitching and complaining about custom bats, take a step back and say, hey, while I'm bitching about this, maybe we should make everything equal. Make all ballpark dimensions exactly the same. Even playing field for all. Doesn't that sound like a simple fucking solution? But no.
I said that. I remember
I know that.
About that. Yeah.
But like this is the inconsistency with baseball and some of the fans that drives me fucking wild, because even when things are as legal as can be, someone's always going to complain and call it cheating and go from there until everything else comes out. And thankfully in the 4 or 5 days since this has happened, it's come out that other Major League Baseball players use this. So the hate on the Yankees has died down a little bit, but you still have individuals that are being salty out there, and that's fine. But again, we are not even a full week into the season. The sample size on this is not enough to say this is going to make an impact, particularly when you look at the matchup between the Brewers pitching and the Yankees lineup. And I do think a lot of it was the mentality of, since we lost Juan Soto, we weren't going to hit the ball this year. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you know who Aaron Judge is?
Who doesn't use a torpedo bat and hit more home runs than anybody in that game? So do you think the Penn Bulldogs, they're back, Bert,
they're back. Yes,
should
they
buy
should.
some torpedo bats.
Buy them.
Really like what the Penn Bulldogs did last year. They do what they do best better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And adding a weapon like the Torpedo Bats will help Coach Scott Foldham,
I'm surprised you
become
remember that. That's so impressive.
Who doesn't remember the iconic? I mean, listen, Bert, remember the Titans, right? Whatever school that was. Notre Dame, Penn Bulldogs, right in that order. Exactly. Aaron Judge is daddy. Okay. Sure. Yeah, sure.
He really is.
Bert, they say let the black man speak. I don't know.
If they watch the show often, they would know that that's majority of the time.
That's a majority of my. It's me. And this is not my wheelhouse. And Bert is a Yankees fan, and I want him to defend his boys because, at the end of the day, Bert, it is like we said at the top of the show. It is because it's the Yankees, right? Like this.
Oh yeah. There's. I can't think of another team. Maybe if the Dodgers did it, because obviously, and we can go into the contract deferment thing too. If we want to start making everything in baseball fair and legal, even though everybody can do it too. I honestly just think, look, you get the majority of the hate from certain clubhouses, right? Boston fans threw a fit. Met fans, I'm surprised at you. Why the Yankee hate? I had to listen to at least 2-3 months of Met fans parading the Juan Soto deal in my fucking face, only for you. And here's why. And this is a bold, and I'm proud to share. I think definitely an accurate statement is no one said shit the first game of the season, opening day. Yankees using torpedo bats. Nobody says anything because it was a close game. They won 3-1, but then Mets had to watch their $765 million man strike out swinging when he had an opportunity to win the game in Houston, as though this is his Mets moment. This is his new era, new contract moment. This is Juan Soto that's going to propel the Mets to a fucking World Series this year. It's all the trash talking I've been hearing from Met fans all offseason, all the memes, all the videos, all the Yankee hate. And then what does he do? He strikes out swinging, which I'm not going to trash Juan Soto right now. I'm not going to. That's not what I'm saying. Again, there's 158 games left of the season. We have time. All right. But I think all of the Met hate from the Yankees torpedo bats came from the fact that the night before they had to watch their expensive guy strike out swinging with a chance to win the game. Then just to watch his former team, crosstown rivals, at a 1 p.m. start the other day, absolutely demolish Nestor Cortez with a 1-2-3 back-to-back home run and then continue to dominate. Because there is that perception. We lost Juan Soto. Yankees can't play baseball anymore. Can't do it. Not going to happen.
Brooks Garner said, told you to stop swearing, which is odd because I swear all the time. Then he wants any advice on how to get a girlfriend.
Yeah, probably get off the internet and touch grass a little bit, bud.
Yeah, that'd probably be the best. That'd probably be the best thing.
But hey, thanks for watching.
Talk about her. Don't talk about yourself. Nobody cares about your 0.3 ERA or whatever you have. Anyway, so
by the way,
funny thing,
go ahead. I'll let you make your point, and then we'll jump back to.
Well, I'm saying, another comment it says, I'm fine with teams having bats as long as they have access to them, which everybody does.
Yeah.
That being said, we don't need to move from the idea that more hits is better baseball. We want more offense and complain that games are too long. Well, to answer that, I don't think no one complains that the games are too long.
Well, not with the pitch clock, no.
But I'm saying, I'm just saying in general, nobody was complaining that the games are too long when there was a bunch of offense, right? Before they added the pitch clock, before all the changes, the only complaints were that the games weren't exciting because you have pitchers who were taking 15 to 25 seconds in between pitches, and the final score ended up being 2-0. Yeah. So, yes, the pitch clock helps, and yes, all that stuff, and it helps that. But more people do want to see more offense, man. People do want to see higher scoring games. It's just a fact. That's just, the attention spans of everybody it's.
I mean, look, I love a no hitter too. I think it's suspenseful. I think it's one of the hardest things to do in professional sports. Between no hitters or even perfect games, it is tough to do, especially in this day and age where analytics does favor the hitter. It 100% does. And especially since they took the sticky stuff away from pitchers, right? So for me, I love a no hitter, but with that being said, I'm going to sit there and say they're boring until you get into the 7th inning and you're like, oh shit, this is actually going to happen. Now, granted, I'm a baseball fan, but that is not my number one sport. It is not. I'm not what we consider a baseball purist. I'm not any sport purist. I'm all for advancing any game as time goes on, because at the end of the day, What I care about is competition, accuracy, and making sure it's watchable. I mean, look at all of these others. Like what I used to watch golf, so I'm not ragging on them, but what they just did with that indoor golf simulation league, like making bite-sized golf competitions, fucking brilliant. I'll watch that any day of the week over, flashing to 30 guys competing in a PGA tournament for 2 days until I actually care about the final round, Same thing with football. Football is the number one televised sport in America. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What the moves that they are making now to make things accurate and fair with the Hawkeye view that they've just announced, and making sure that plays are reviewable and everything else, like that is what I care about, advancing the game. And the same holds true for baseball. It is 100+ year old sport. We need to continue to advance it, plain and simple. And I'm not saying like, oh, let's just make all the bats bigger and let's just make it a home run derby every game. And that's not what I'm saying at all. But to sit there and say that this would not, or maybe might not be as good for the game as we think, is just ridiculous. Jerm, you mentioned this in the text thread.
Mm-hmm.
What saved baseball in the late 90s? Steroids did. Baseball viewership was falling off. And who came along? Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. And throw in anybody else in there that was juicing and just crushing the ball. That's what they want to see. They want to see competition. They want to see intensity. They want to watch rivalries and fierce competition going back and forth, dugout brawls every now and then too. And I'm sure we'll see that. I'm sure with these new bats, pitchers are going to get shelled so much, they're just going to start plain old plunking guys. And then we're just going to see some fisticuffs. Like, this is all good for the game. It's all good.
So it's funny you mentioned the 90s. Easton actually had the same concept back in the 90s, for those who were old enough to remember, where they extended the barrel reflex, but only in like the metal bat. So, because they realized that the players aren't hitting the ball a lot, of like Juan Carlos Stanton, right? Chokes up a lot on the bat. So he's not hitting the ball at the end of the traditional barrel. His is more kind of, it's centered. If you notice how the torpedo bats are kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rolling, that's typically how it is.
And that's the thing for me. I mean, if you're pitch them more to the outside, let them chase it, let them hit it with the end of the bat so it goes absolutely nowhere. I mean, the game is going to adapt unless MLB says, nope, guess what? We're changing it. You're only using your traditional bat. And then everybody goes about their day.